Alright, g'day. Now, Richard MUSGRAVE-EVANS here again. This time, something completely different. We're not out in the nunga, we're not out in the bush, way out back. We're inside. And we've got a still life. Now this is a still life I did about 15 years ago, and I gave it to a friend as a gift. And what's happened is it's been in storage with an insurance company. And they've put bubble wrap around it. And this particular painting had a lot of oil in the mix when I was painting it. And what's going to happen is the bubble wrap and the oil have glued together over time, so when we've peeled the bubble wrap off, pock marks all over, which as you can imagine is a disaster. So what I'm going to do today is just basically rework the surface. There's quite a bit to do because it's quite damaged really when you have a look up close. Okay, so now here's something you would not have seen me do before. Hang on, I'll just shut this door. We're working with brushes because this painting's done mostly with brushes, and I've got a lot of medium here, which is quite a thick medium, slow drying, and that's what this painting was done with. So we're going back in time a little bit here with the old technique, but if I'm going to match what's already been done, that's what I have to do. Alright, let's get into it. Now first I'll start with the background. We'll get a bit of oil on there. I'm just in the hallway of the house here. There's nothing too flash as far as the studio is concerned because I'm the plein air artist. Might have a good setup outdoors with my trailer or whatever, but indoors, I'll tell you what, it's a bit rough. Alright, let's have a look at this. Just try and match that colour. I think there's a bit of yellow ochre as well. I'm mixing burnt siennas, cobalt blues, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre to get that kind of brown sort of colour we've got in there. Cake it on because this painting is done on board, it's not done on linen or canvas, so it hasn't got a texture. And so the board's like porcelain basically. And because that's the case, I've got to get the paint fairly thick to cover those pock marks. It's going alright, I won't say it's perfect, but just getting the bulk of it done, like all the big areas. A bit like blocking in when you're outdoors. I'll get the big areas done first and then I'll start getting all fiddly later. Gives you an opportunity when you're doing this, like I said, to actually improve the painting. Like if you're going to rework it, why not make it better? There's always room for improvement. That's the way you've got to think. I can see I'm going to need a rag also to kind of smear the... better not drop any oil on the floor. Got a nice carpet down there. Want to smear the old and the new work together so you can't really tell where they start and finish. Now I'm just going into that corner, so I'll start going a bit darker because this side of the painting is dark and then works across to light. So we've got more burnt sienna and more cobalt blue in this section. Yeah, no, all good. All good. Keep doing what we're doing, it's working so far. Seems to be covering up those marks. And because the painting was done so long, I've prepared the surface, I've cleaned the surface thoroughly cleaned the surface so the new paint will stick nicely. And at the same time I'm using quite fat paint, which means I've got a lot of oil. So there's no drama with fat on lean and all that stuff that you do with oil paint. Just working into the corners. Now I can see that I'm going through this yellow ochre very quickly, so I'll be grabbing a little bit more in a minute. Alright, so I've got a bit more yellow ochre on board, and I've also put some more medium in the thing there. I like to use the odourless medium, so what I've got is a fat, slow drying medium, Art Spectrum. It's the fat medium, which means it's a quite thick and slow drying, which is what we need for this one. Just introduce a bit of white there, she's a bit dark, not too much white though. More alizarin crimson instead of burnt sienna. I've got to constantly colour match here. And I can see that there's quite a bit of alizarin crimson and yellow ochre combination. Also, being the artist who painted it, it does help. I do remember basically what colours I was using. Just do some blending up in there. A bit more. Yeah, it's funny how much of that red's actually in there. Probably don't use the alizarin crimson as much as I used to in the past. Used to use it more. It's a nice colour. With that yellow ochre, it gives it a beautiful golden type of colour. Still use it, don't get me wrong on that. Okay, now. Seems to be working, it's getting rid of the marks. I can see quite a few pock marks up here. I'm going to have to thicken the paint at the top because it's all about not just painting the right colour and tone, it's about getting rid of those marks. That's what the whole thing's about. By introducing plenty of short marks also, you're adding a lot of texture and variety to the surface. So even if you've left a few pock marks, they don't show up so much with those jig-jag marks that I'm making. Blinking saddle there. Such a beautiful job I did of that saddle top. But, in saying that, I can see the old pock marks. So, over we go. Paint over it, darker. That's it. Yeah, that's working, that's working. Right, what have we got here? Got to get down on the angle so I can see where these pock marks are. There's plenty in there too. Darker. That's about it. Now, lighter. I'll change to another part of the saddle that I can see a bit of a mess. Just in here, it's quite a subtle bit of saddle. Oh, that matched that one pretty well, that was good. What have we got here? Right, okay. Now I'm going to go darker again. I've got some dark areas to work. Over in the corner here, there we go. This corner. Annoyingly, that beautiful pillar there, it's quite subtle. It's laced with pock marks, bugger it all. Got a bit of, there's some coolness in that, so I've just added some blue and white. which is going to cool that area down because I have used quite cool colours in this corner. I've used a combo actually, warm and cool. I've always, indoor paintings or outdoor paintings, I'm always playing with warm and cool next to each other. So even though this painting basically looks brown, it's got warm and cool next to each other, just playing subtle. And now I've gone for alizarin again. There's your alizarin, bunged on, but at the same time, there's your cobalt. Really makes it jump in your eyes, it's great. Might rework this area too, we've got top marks here, and I might lighten it. This is where I'm making improvements. To me that pillar should be a bit lighter than it is. That's just me now. It's a different opinion as opposed to when I painted it. So let's do that. Hope my mate doesn't know. Hope my mate doesn't notice I've actually changed it a bit. Anyway, yeah. As long as it's better, I guess if I make it better, he'll be happy. That's how it goes. Always on them, always looking for improvements. Just going to lighten that edge. A light striking there. Oh, here's some nice thicker chunks. That looks good. Right, yep. Okay, now I'll just get down this angle to see what's happening. Yep, there's pock marks through there too, so here we go again. Right, that's a dark shadow tone of cobalt blue burnt sienna. Bit of alizarin. Yeah, I have to get down to be able to see if there's any pock marks, that's the thing. A bit more oil. Okay, what do we got here? Breaking blue and brown just to mix all that together. Sienna, yellow ochre, alizarin. A little bit of that colder blue and stuff in there as well to add variety, like we said earlier. Put it there, catching the light. Now I'm just going to stand back and have a look. Yeah, she's coming along, That's good, right, I can see something else. Start introducing some shadow here, blend of shadow. Put a bit more of a highlight on here, I reckon. That's the improvement again, a bit more highlight here. Just stand back and have a look. Right, let's have a look how those marks are going. Look, here we go, just up in here there's plenty. No rest for the wicked here. Oh, that was a good colour match. That's spot on, new ripper. Yeah, blue. It's quite cold on this lower section, so bang, bang, bang. You're going to soften the edge here. Introduce a soft edge, because this is a non-focal area of the painting. This is a part that's not supposed to command too much attention, so I'm softening the edges. Softer edges always help lead your eye into the areas that you want them, not the focal areas. I'll sting those focal areas up in a minute, and I'm just mucking around trying to get rid of all these pock marks first. I'll have to get an orange out in a minute because I need a bit more power for these highlights just in this area here. I need a stronger orange. At the moment I'm just working with basically yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, burnt sienna and cobalt blue. Very simple palette. But that's what the painting is. There's a nice blue highlight in here though. I reckon I'm going to sting that right up. Okay. Right, now what I'm going to do is find a clean piece of palette. You guessed it, I've got my old favourite, I've got the knife back. Love working with the knife, as you know. So what I'm going to do is just knock up a bit of a highlight colour for that blue so it really pops. Have a look what we've got here. Palette knives are really good for that when you want an accent, you want something to really jump off. Palette knife. Well, I'm going to have to blend it with a brush though because it's sitting very ugly against the rest of it. It's not blending, it doesn't look like it's part of the painting. What about a bit of finger? Also, a rag, back in a minute. Just go for a bit of paper towel, I reckon. Take some of that off and smear it in like a glaze almost when it's getting in the edges. Soften and smear. So you're getting back to the original paint and the new paint. You've got a combination of the two. Just take that off there. Okay, let's see what we've got. Now I'm going to put some accents in, but I'm having trouble when I stand back viewing it, seeing it because there's a lot of sheen. We're getting the sheen on all the new wet paint. I'll try standing it up more upright, see what happens. Okay, got the painting resting on my swag. What a temporary easel. Right, let's go another round. Let me work out what I want to do. I reckon, have a look. Let's use white, touch of yellow ochre, only half mix. We've got white and yellow ochre, half mix. Going to need more yellow ochre there to blend it. There's actually quite keyed down this painting, which gives you plenty of room for accent. Let's have a look at that. Let's make it pop. Because the original painting, like I was saying, is quite a dark, subdued painting, it's actually given me a lot of room to be able to pump up the accents now and really make the painting live maybe a bit more than it used to. At the same time, there's always this blending I've got to do from new to old. So I might just blend with my finger here, try and convince your eye that it was all done in one go. Some subtle blending with the finger. Fingers can be good for that. Right, now, more on the top of this old blanket here, this horse rug. More white. And still more white. Let's have a look at that. It's working, it's working. I'm just introducing a little bit of yellow into that blue because that blue is so bright and new. It was contrasting way too much and it didn't actually look like it was part of the painting. So I'm introducing some of the old colours into that blue. But at the same time, hopefully making that blue stand out more than it did before. Yeah, coming along, coming along. Okay, I might go for another accent here on the, I feel like maybe that boot, that foreground boot, could just pop a little bit more out than it does. So, why don't we do that? By putting, if I got that in the way, sorry about that. By putting a bit of a white accent there. That has worked, that's made that boot jump a little bit more than it was. Okay, now. I've gotten rid of most of the pock marks, which is the biggest problem obviously, that's why we're even doing this in the first place, but what I've also got to do now is do some subtle blending, so I'm going to get a rag or a piece of paper. Just need to blend the new to old. I can see, you can't really see it on the camera, but I can see where the two paints meet. They are not, even though they're the same colour and tone, they're not meeting perfectly and subtly, so I'll just blend them a bit. Bit of finger, maybe a bit of rag, let's have a look. Rag's good, rag's good. Finger near the edges. Just rub a bit of that in like that. And just blend a bit down there. Just where it touches the edge of the saddle, just bring it in, bring it in. It's working, yeah, it's working. Just underneath the this little section. Blending it way better now, so the two are amalgamating, if you like. Becoming part of one another. It's okay to pull the paint a little bit into it, I'm finding. Just purposely drag the paint a little bit over the saddle, the background colour, just pull it over the saddle a bit. It gives that soft 3D look. Just here. It's like finger painting. This is alright. I'm going to soften that back edge here, that'll help it. By softening the edge of the saddle here, you definitely blend it off into the background. Right here, where are we? Yeah. Because it's not the subject, softening that helps make it go off. Soften that. Right. Bring this down in here. Nice. Just stand back. Well, I'm back in the game now. What I'm going to do is just add a bit more brush work. I can see there's some orange in there that's been lost with ochres, so I've got to go brighter again. So back into the brush. Just start to smear a few oranges in there. Maybe a bit more of a yellow rather than orange, which I just so happen to have. Not only that, powers it up a bit. Stops the painting being, you know, boring. Gives it some oomph. Yeah, that's working. Just pump that up. Just stand back here and look. Just will pop a few of those good colours in, you know, the old cad orange and cad yellows. Just mix them with the tertiaries. Just getting that little bit of pop. Maybe a tad there too. A little bit of pop, but as you know, never goes astray. Yeah, that's looking good. Almost. So this is me trying to improve it now. I'm almost trying to go over the top from what I did see, what I did in the past, and just say, okay, here's an opportunity to make this painting better. You always look at the stuff you've done in the past and kind of wince. You go, oh, did I really paint that? I thought that was good. It is a nice painting and probably looks alright on the camera too, but it was very stiff, you know, didn't have a free flowing thing that obviously I love to do today. That don't matter, it's still a nice painting. That's all that really matters. Right, now maybe we'll just put it Bit of a highlight there where the top of the saddle's catching the light. Same time, drag the edge down a bit. Oops, what have I done there? That could be a happy accident. Let's have a look. I'm liking what's going on here, so I'm just going to try and accent a little bit more in this area with a bit of white and cad yellow. Pour a little bit of light here, not too much, don't want to get too cad light. You also got to respect the original painting. What that's done though is just giving a little bit more 3D. It pulls the main subject, which is the saddle, just pulls it out of the tertiary out of focusness. A little bit on the top here too. Catching the light, catching the light. Just, trying to get the light to catch it. I could even bring just this edge of this top up this old horse. It's an old carpentry horse that it's sitting on. Probably just accent the top of that a tiniest bit too. It's got a lot of character, this old horse. It's got those classic old carpentry wood saw marks in it. Gives you an opportunity to just sort of pull them out a bit. A bit more subtle details. It's all happening. This sort of stuff's good though, like painting still lifes. I've done years of still life painting as well as plein air, but by learning through still life, it's a really good way to get a grasp of the medium and light and shadow and colour and tone, composition, which comes in handy. So when you go out in the bush, you know how to create the illusion of reality. And that works well. If you keep doing a lot of this, it's good as an apprenticeship, I guess. It helps to build it up in your head as to what creates the illusion of realism and what is a good composition. Then when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you've got a big canvas or linen or whatever, and you're going flat out because the light's changing, all the stuff from years ago is stuck in here. And it comes out. Particularly if you don't think about it, it comes out even better. Just go with it. The knowledge is already there. Through practice. Still life is a great way to practice technique. Because you're working from life with the still life. I set all this up. I worked the original painting from life. You're working from life, but you've got a stable light source. You haven't got that fleeting effect. It's just a great way to basically work on your technique. Alright, now what are we doing? Can we see any more of those pock marks? It's probably the most important bit. Not many, it's looking good. One or two won't hurt, adds a bit of texture. We've got more texture than we used to have. The style I've painted in with the brush is a little bit less oil, so there's a bit more painterly texture anyway, which helps get rid of any of those marks that were there. Quite happy actually with what I've done here. I might just leave it at that. What I'm just going to do is I can see with the frame and the paint I've worked, there's a bit of a gap, so I'll just blend them. Just put this down. Okay, so what am I going to use here to get up there? I might have to use a brush. Just a little brush maybe. Work my way up into the corners. And down the sides, of course. Up in here. It's been interesting. I haven't worked with a brush actually for the last few years, I reckon. Nothing wrong with the brush. I guess I'm trying to do my own thing and sort of developed a technique with palette knife, and I really enjoy it, so I'm just going with it. But brush, nothing wrong with it. Okay, let's blend that into there. Yeah, it's blending. Blend, 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 blend. Yeah. Right, when I get down I can see the reflection from, I've got a skylight above us. That's where the light's coming from. It's natural light, we've got a skylight here. That's why I'm painting the hallway. It's actually, I love painting with natural light, being a plein air artist, and the skylight seems to be pretty good. I'll just stand out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Just working into the edges. Trying to eliminate the evidence that I've actually reworked it. I reckon there's nothing worse than a reworked painting that looks like it's been reworked. If you can get away with it and it looks all fresh and once off, that's great. I hate that reworked where you can look and you can see the two different techniques and styles and not properly colour matching and all that stuff. Okay, let me just blend that one a bit. Yeah. I'm just going to rub that off a bit there. The rag helps blend it in. Alright, I'll just get down here. I can see when I get down I've got to just do a bit more of this. There's still a few pock marks, but like I said, it's not as bad. It's been disguised. I can work into the dark now. I was working on the light before because I've got a rag and I'm constantly rubbing it clear. Let's get down here. Work that. I'm just blending the two in, the old and the new, together. It's going alright. I might just stand back and have a look. Okay. Just going to go for a bit of an accent on that blue again. I've got a bit of blue and white to try and make a pop on the corner here. Let's see if it works. I think it did. To tell you the truth, I think my mate Bob is going to be happy. I think I've made the painting better. He'll be happy the insurance company stuck it in bubble wrap for too long. Oops. Just adding a few highlights where I'm trying to lead the eye. Now that older Cobra, now to me is just looking a little bit dull in a couple of spots. So what I want to do is try and bring it up like I've done there, which is a little bit more accent. Let's see if I can do that. I think I've gone over the top there with too much white. Maybe if I just blend it with the fingers it'll work. Let's have a look. What you've got to realise about fur felt, it doesn't actually catch the light very efficiently, not like a piece of glass or something like that. So there's not huge highlights anyway on a fur felt hat. If you put the highlights too big, it doesn't look like fur felt anymore. So you just got to get it right. Don't overdo it. Just put a bit of a highlight, but don't overdo it. I'll put a bit more yellow ochre with it to try and kill off that. I made that too bright, so I'm killing it off with a bit of yellow ochre rather than pure white. Oops, I think I overdid it with the white again. I meant that to be yellow ochre, that's better, yellow ochre. But it has brought more of the character out in the hat. Just a few highlights here too, the lights catching the old timber wouldn't hurt. Bit of a highlight on the blanket. And maybe, what have we got here? Just a tiny bit here too, not too much, don't want to get too carried away. Bring it up a bit there. Maybe where the light's hitting here, we can bring this up. Just got to be careful, don't want to overdo it, don't want to get carried away. Like I was saying before, there's a bit too much of a highlight on here, I just noticed when I stood back, so let's blend that up a bit. Gonna have to use a rag because I'm getting too much. Take it off and blend it out. Blend it into the old paint. Let's have a look. It might pop a little bit though if I just get that hat and just pop the top of it a bit to help it blend, mix with that. That's quite striking. I can just see here if I can just get a little bit more highlight right at the top of the hat, it might work. Okay, so that's about it. I'm pretty happy with what I've done actually, because like I said, the painting itself is quite keyed down in tertiary tones, which has given me the perfect opportunity to be able to rework it, but then pop the accent areas. And so what I've done is left the old stuff like the background quite keyed down, and reworked the old stuff in the background in a low key. But when it's come time for the saddle area and a few other things, it's given me the opportunity to just go bang and just jump it out of the old picture. So now when you stand back and have a look, I think the saddle itself is going to pop off the wall better. And that's just my personal opinion after 15 years later looking at the work. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed this video. It's something different. I'll get back into the plein air stuff soon, I promise, but there's always the other stuff you've got to do too. And it's great just to show you the different stuff I do and have done over the years. Alright, well don't forget to subscribe if you like this video and forward it on to your friends and whatever you think is relevant for the occasion. And thank you very much for all the followers and friends that have already come along on board. I'm really enjoying the whole process of having a YouTube channel and sharing my experiences and my techniques. Alright, no worries, until next time, see you later, thank you. Okay, now if we come in and have a close look at what we've actually got here, you'll see what I was talking about, bringing up the accents here. Really trying to bring the saddle out of the old painting and sting it with some bright contrasting colours. And then the background, which I touched up, is obviously keyed down. Now you look, I put a few highlights on the hat, like I said, and basically I'm feeling the whole painting is popping more, as well as having repaired the pock marks. Now on this side of the painting I've purposely keyed it down because it's not the focal area. I'm using lower tones and softer edges, as opposed to the focal brightness in the centre here. Anyway, so there you go, that's the painting. Now let's have a look at the colours I've used. Here's the palette. Pretty simple colours. I've got yellow ochre here, and alizarin crimson, burnt sienna, cobalt blue, and cad orange, cad yellow and white. And that's the whole palette for the picture. Pretty simple. Okay, thank you. Cheers.